I think modern economics does not explain capitalism, because you put the emphasis on the word explain there. And to explain capitalism, you have to explain the main catalyst or driver behind that, and that's about innovation. It's our ability to recreate the capitalism we've seen, say, in the United Kingdom for the last 250, 300 years, has led to extraordinary wealth through innovation. And yet it's really taken outside of our modern economic models. And so in order to really explain capitalism, we have to have a way of taking human beings as they are, who are these remarkably resourceful and innovative people. Now, you can only be resourceful and innovative because that means taking on risks if the part of the broader social system allows you to take those risks, if it supports risk-taking. And that's why we, again, come back to economics being part of the wider social system. So if you want to have an economic system which supports innovation, you have to think about the social system which creates the institutions which allow people to specialize and to take the sort of risks which anybody who's inventing will take risks. That's the very nature of it, because it hasn't been done before. It's creating something which is not, we haven't seen before, and that in itself is risky. So we have to make that at the heart of this. It means that rather than starting again, going back to Robbins, from a point of equilibrium and saying what sort of behavior is consistent with that, it'd be better to start off with saying, well, the matter of fact is we live in a world of fundamental uncertainty. Human beings are incredibly resourceful. They get together, and what is exceptional about human beings is we can work together in groups, and we can create our own codes of behavior to achieve the outcomes we want to do. That is what makes humans different from other animals, and that's why we're so inventive. But we can only do that if we start off from recognizing the fundamental framework is one of uncertainty, and we are not just simple vending machines in that world. We are people who can invent things, and creating that sort of more creative and constructive framework, I think, could lead to a lot outcomes which try to answer this question about innovation in a much more productive way than we currently do. So the short answer to that question is I don't think the current economics does really explain the deep part of that, which is the inventiveness. In terms of what is capitalism, well, capitalism is part of our wider social system. It's very closely tied to the other parts. So I mentioned the political system. Political system's about power. And obviously, before we had capitalism, we had feudalism, where we had sort of absolute power over people. They were tied to the land. Today, it's different. And part of this innovation is that people are allowed to take the rewards. They're allowed to have the machines. They're allowed to invest and own in these things. And I, for one, am a supporter of this. I think it's an extraordinary, productive and valuable system. But it only works when the other parts of the social system, the political system in particular, but perhaps also the legal system, support this. And so capitalism, I think, has to be seen in a much broader way than pure economics. It's much more about the wider social system that supports what you've termed capitalism.